Welcome to Project One. Building a strong community takes each one of us, and Project One is the place to start. 1 hour, one person, one life changed. On today's show, we'll feature an organization that is changing lives and transforming our community. So get ready to be inspired. Here's the host of Project One, Jan Johnson.
We want to welcome you today for Project One, and again, we're in the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, and we're just thrilled that you're going to take the time to hear about the organization that we're featuring today. And again, let me remind you that Project One is an initiative of Salem Media Group, and we want to bring to you amazing organizations in the San Antonio and South Texas area that are making a difference in the lives of those in our community. And these are organizations, most of them that are nonprofit, but that need help. They need volunteers. They need mentors. They need individuals to come alongside them and make them successful as they reach out to fellow citizens in San Antonio. And again, this would not be possible without the support of amazing sponsors like Documation, who is so involved in our community, as well as the San Antonio Christian Leadership Forum. And as I was preparing for today's show, I read this really kind of cool quote that I thought was really neat, but it said, "Volunteers are the only human beings on the face of the earth who reflect compassion, unselfish caring, patience, and just plain helping others out." And when I read that, I thought, you know what? That's Meals on Wheels. And so I'm just thrilled to have in studio today with me Ariana Barber, who is the Communications and Marketing Director, and then Forrest Mayan, who is the Director of Donor Relations for Meals on Wheels San Antonio. Welcome to in studio.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, Jan.
Now, Ariana and I met about a year ago, and we featured you on The Difference Makers, and I was blown away with all of the services that Meals on Wheels provides in our community. So tell us about that.
Well, so Meals on Wheels is much more than a meal. We deliver services to help enable independence for our seniors. We care for our seniors, and we help to nourish them, both their body and their spirit, by providing companionship and lots of other services. And some of the things that we do, in addition to delivering meals, is we have our Anna Meals program.
You have your what?
Our Anna Meals program.
No, what's that?
So do you want to talk a little bit about Forrest?
Sure. So I think our whole goal is that we're trying to help people stay in their homes and age in place as long as possible. And so all of our services support that. So our Anna Meals program came about because we realized that the seniors who we're serving struggle, particularly in our Meals on Wheels program, struggle to get food, whether that's because there's a financial issue or there's just a mobility and accessibility issue. And so we were delivering meals to them, and they were sharing those meals with their pets, because if they have a pet...
Anna Meals.
Right.
Okay.
So if they have a pet and they're struggling to get food, then of course they're struggling to get food for their pet. And if they're sharing the meal that we bring them with their pet, neither of them are getting nutritional fulfillment. As a person who occasionally feeds their dog human food and he always gets sick, we all know it's not a good idea to do that.
Never a good idea.
Never done that. Never done that.
So our Anna Meals program delivers pet food to our clients who have pets and receive Meals on Wheels.
Oh, my word.
They get pet food once a month to feed all of the pets in their house for that month. So it's a separate volunteer opportunity, which is cool. It happens on the weekend, so it's good for people who can't make that sort of workday volunteer shift.
Sure.
But it's a great program to help make sure that everybody's getting nutritional help. And we really want people to have those pets in their home with them and have that companionship.
Because often that's their only companion, or the only people that see besides those who are delivering their meals.
Absolutely.
We hear that a lot. Yep.
So tell us what else that you do in the community.
So our regular Meals on Wheels program, I think everybody's kind of heard of that. We deliver meals to about 3,600 to 3,800 people in San Antonio and Bexar County on a daily basis.
Every day?
Every single weekday.
Wow. And meals are made fresh in our kitchen every morning, starting at 4 a.m. Monday through Friday.
So mostly volunteers, deliver those meals all over the county. And it's not just a lunch meal. So it is a lunch meal that is nutritionally dense and a little bit higher in calories maybe than you and I would have for lunch, because for some people that might be the only meal they're eating that day. So they're a little higher in calories. They've got a lot of protein, a lot of veggies. They look good and they actually taste good. We eat them occasionally to help with quality control.
Well, tell me when that's happening. I might be over there.
I had butternut squash ravioli the
That
other
was
day.
really
that was
good.
delicious.
Okay, you're making me hungry.
Well, and that was one of the things I think that it was kind of a duh moment is, if the food doesn't taste really good and look really good and people don't want to eat it, then we're not doing our jobs.
So it's probably good that you taste it, because you're not getting a cardboard TV dinner.
Right.
No, and it's not just a couple of pieces of bread with some meat in between them either. I mean, every now and then that can hit the spot for a person, but we want to make sure that our seniors are receiving meals that they can look forward to on a regular basis.
Right. We work with a lot of different dietary needs based on what their medical needs are, but we're also looking at holistic nutrition. So for our clients who really are alone, who don't have caregivers in the city, who really don't have access to other food, they might additionally get breakfast from us. So when they get their meal delivered, they'll get breakfast for the next day.
Wow.
They might get frozen meals for the weekend that they can heat up in their homes.
So that way they don't go hungry on the weekend.
So we know that they're getting something between when we see them on Friday and when we'll see them next on Monday.
We also give out emergency meal kits a couple times a year. So when Hurricane Harvey was coming and we weren't sure what that impact was going to look like in San Antonio, anybody who lived on what we know is a route that gets flooded out got a shelf-stable box, which is about, how many meals is it? 3 meals?
I think it's at 2.5 to 3.
Right. So in this shelf-stable box. Also,
so you were thinking ahead.
Yes,
we
right.
had to
So if our delivery was delayed or there was some problem because of the storm, then those people would still have food.
So that's something on a daily basis. We are so used to just going to our homes and opening up the fridge or driving through a fast food restaurant and picking up food. We don't think about those kind of things. We go and clean the shelves out as a storm is coming, but you don't think of those that are shut-ins.
Right, absolutely.
That can't get, but you guys do. You prepare.
Well, and we work to not go more than 3 days without seeing our clients. So that means that we don't always have the same holidays that other people have, but we try to make sure that we're seeing them as much as we can.
And for example, if we have a Monday off, we will do a double meal delivery that Friday before to make sure that they have something to eat that Monday.
And you probably do an evaluation of the home and see what's going on in that area and find out.
Our client services team takes every referral in after it's been evaluated if they meet some of the criteria that people have to meet in order to be considered. And they will go and they do a home visit and they fill out a very, very long questionnaire and assess their needs. And that's when they also talk about dietary restrictions, whether they're diabetic or what have you. Right. And then they come back and we get them routed, which is what we call the delivery. We get them routed as fast as possible.
We're trying to get within 48 hours.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, when someone comes to the attention of Meals on Wheels that is needing your services, how long does that normally take from the first contact to the time that they get their first meal delivered?
So we're definitely within 2 weeks at this point. Our goal is to be within a week or less.
Our processes are still on refinement. So like if somebody sent in something on a Saturday, like a referral via our website, they probably won't hear from anyone until Monday because that's when we're in office. But then based on whatever that initial conversation looks like, they could have meals being delivered to their house by the end of that week, if not
And what's
the
the
following.
criteria? You keep mentioning seniors, but what if there's somebody who is not a senior?
So if you are disabled, so perhaps you're blind and you don't really have a caregiver, so you receive some sort of support from the state, you may be eligible to receive meals because you do not have the capacity to cook for yourself. Like, it's just not possible. I've delivered to people who are a little bit younger, but they're blind
or they have some kind of disability where they're unable to prepare food.
Yeah, you just are unable.
A lot of vets in this community who have some sort of injury from war.
Yes.
So basically our criteria is you have difficulty leaving your house, getting food, and then preparing that food. So age is not really an issue. Most of our clients are seniors, but not all of them. Yeah. And also income is not a total barrier, because it doesn't matter how much money you have if you live alone and don't have anybody in town to help you
and don't have the means to be able to do
absolutely.
it.
So we have a lot of clients who, I would say about 60 to 70% of our clients are what we would consider to be low income, but the other 30 to 40% are not, and often those people donate back to the agency. All of our meals are free. We don't charge anyone to get meals, but those people who have the means to pay for it often do donate back to support the agency.
That's incredible.
And there will be the donation here and there from a client who's like, $5, it's not that much, but it's all I have. And honestly, that goes a long way to providing a meal for somebody.
Absolutely.
That's 2 lunches.
And we
Regular
have,
donation.
if you're wanting to find out information about how you can contribute and how you can get involved, and again, when we come back from break here in a little bit, we'll be talking about how you can get involved. But go to the station's website and click on the tab Project One, and you'll have all of the information about Meals on Wheels San Antonio and how you can get involved, how you can donate, and how you can be a part of this amazing organization. So real quickly, just give me 30 seconds from each of you. Why did you get involved in Meals on Wheels?
I have always worked in nonprofit fundraising, and I've mostly worked in the health and human services side with children. But I sort of feel like fate has always brought me to Meals on Wheels because all of my jobs in San Antonio have been across the street from a Meals on Wheels location.
Really?
So it sort of was fate that I ended up here. But it's a beautiful mission, and I think serving the people who are the most vulnerable is what's important to me. So that's children, and then seniors who have struggles with things like this.
Wow. Thanks, Forrest. How about you?
For me, I think it's always been a little bit about helping those who maybe otherwise can't help themselves. Need definitely isn't always greatest in your backyard. You've got to go a little bit further sometimes to make sure that you're helping those who are in need. And I am very fortunate, as my parents are aging, that they are capable, but I know that I would definitely appreciate it if someone out there was doing for them what we are doing for many others in the community.
Sure. Well, as we get ready to go to break, I want you to be thinking about this as you are in the hustle and bustle of this holiday season. Just consider giving back. Give back to Meals on Wheels so that way they can provide these nutritious meals over the holiday season, and these people don't go without. So we're getting ready to go on break, and we're going to come back and let you know how you can get involved and exactly what is needed, because they need a lot of help. They need a lot of volunteers, and it could be just you. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Documentation cares deeply for our community in South and West Texas, and we do as much as we possibly can to give back, be charitable and generous, and be caring for the community. There are very few nonprofits that we would be aware of at this point that we are not involved with, either volunteering or giving to, and we love it. It gives us purpose. It gives us passion for our jobs. Being a technology company isn't the most fun of all focuses, and when we get to focus on giving back to others, like every holiday season, we have our DocuElves where we give to over 80 families a month and a half worth of food and supplies, as well as gifts for each child, or for the upcoming fall festival, giving away to needy families. It goes on and on and on. Actually, we're an art gallery at Documation because our art is donated to purposes to raise money for nonprofits. It's in us. It's our DNA. We love it. We're thankful to be invested in our community.
We want to welcome you back to Project One, and just want to remind you that as you are preparing for the end of the year, that many of these organizations that we have featured over this past year, they are nonprofit organizations. And as you are preparing to give your end of year giving, don't forget the national ministries that we offer on AM 630 The Word right here, as well as all of the nonprofit organizations that we have listed on the Project One tab. So go and take a look, go to the station's website, click on the tab Project One, and I'm sure they would be very appreciative of your donation for end of year giving. And as we're talking with Meals on Wheels, as we left it off, we were talking with Forrest and Ariana, and one of the things came up about delivering 3,600 to 3,800 meals every day, Monday through Friday. And sometimes they have to double up on that when it comes to the holiday season. So talk to us and tell our listeners what it is that they can do to help. How do you use volunteers and or mentors with Meals on Wheels San Antonio?
So that's a huge part of what we do. Volunteers do an incredible amount of work for us, and we really could not do what we do without a significant volunteer force.
How many do you have? What's your volunteer base?
I think there might be a pool of like 4 or 5 1,000.
That sounds right.
Those people are not delivering every day. Like somebody might be like, I can only deliver 2 Tuesdays a month, and they're delivering from one specific location. So we definitely, our community engagement team is always working at a very fast pace to try to make sure we are getting every route scheduled with a volunteer, especially as the need grows, as we're adding seniors on.
Right. Basically, for every 8 to 10 seniors we add, we need about 7 to 10 volunteers.
Oh, my goodness.
Most volunteers deliver once a week, and then we always have to have a few substitutes in the pool for when people get sick or go out of town or whatever.
And they use their own vehicle?
Yes.
They use their own vehicle.
They can though. That is something where if you talk to your CPA or your financial person, that can be tax deductible with the mileage that you accumulate from delivering.
Sure.
Right. And the thing that's incredible about it is, so we do have some staff drivers. Part of what they do is they deliver to people who have just come into our system, and so we haven't been able to get them on a volunteer route yet, or people who live really far out on the edges of the county where we struggle to get people to volunteer in those areas. And they also deliver meals to delivery pickup points. So we have 60 delivery pickup points all over the city. So you don't
60.
Yes. You don't necessarily come to our office to pick up the meals to deliver. A lot of corporations have volunteer teams, and we deliver the meals to their site.
Well, and that's a great thing. So, as you just mentioned, Forrest, if you've got an organization that would want to take your staff and do either a team building or do a team activity to give back to the community, that would be something incredible. So you drop it off at that corporate location, and then those people, the staff, would then deliver the meals.
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
So a meal that's delivered by a staff driver costs us about $5 per meal, because we're including in the salary of the driver and our vehicles and our insurance and our gas and whatever. It's about $2 to $2.50 meals that are delivered by volunteers. So obviously it's much more
cost effective
for us.
And what a great opportunity for these people to go in, and I'm sure they've made long-time friendsps too.
Right,
There are lots of people who do.
Absolutely.
We have one gentleman who we recently featured at one of our annual luncheons who was able to bring a guest, and he brought his longtime volunteer who had actually gone with him when he was being recognized for being one of the last remaining World War II veterans.
Wow.
Like, he took her to D.C., and she's been delivering to him for, I want to say, at least 5 or 7 years, I think.
That's incredible.
I mean, it's a relationship where she's kind of become like his daughter. Like, she is like his family, and she considers him to be the same way.
That's amazing.
It's so funny. We as staff deliver occasionally to sub in when a lot of volunteers have called in sick or whatever. Actually, after Hurricane Harvey, when there was the gas shortage, we had a lot of volunteers that couldn't get to us because they didn't have gas. So the staff will volunteer occasionally to do some routes. And I don't know how many times I've gone up and delivered, and somebody will say, "Who are you? Where's Mary?" Because they know who comes on Tuesdays, and I'm not that person. And they're very nice, but they're like, "What is Mary? Is she okay?
I hope you don't
Is she
take that
sick?"
personally.
No. I think it's lovely because it means that they've created that relationship, and that person's special to them.
What other areas can people get involved besides giving and being a driver?
They can always come on site, and they can help prep meals. Sometimes that's a need, especially when we're doing a double meal delivery preparation, because we'll be getting one meal out and getting the next meal ready. That's always a good way to help. And then we always have our emergency meal packs.
Right, they pack emergency meals or breakfast packs. The other thing that we haven't really talked about in this conversation yet is we have a whole other huge program that we run out of our agency.
Let's hear about it.
So it's called Grace Place, and it's an Alzheimer's activity center for people who have Alzheimer's and dementia.
Oh, my word.
Yes.
That's a whole nother program in itself.
It's a really incredible program, but I think what's nice about it is it still really fulfills that mission of we're trying to help people to stay in their homes with their families as long as possible and not have to go into a care facility. And by being at one of our Grace Place locations, they can be there all day. Their family members can continue to go out and work, can run errands,
kind
can
of respite
do whatever.
care during the day.
It's respite care, and it also helps them to stay as
engaged.
As engaged as they possibly can, because
we've heard stories about because if you have Alzheimer's or dementia, oftentimes you lose track of time, and they don't sleep at night, which means you probably aren't sleeping at night as a caregiver. When they go to Grace Place, their day is chock full of
and
activities.
Get them tired.
Right,
absolutely. And when they go
they
home,
sleep.
they eat dinner and they go to bed, which means everyone gets a good night's rest.
And it keeps them working on skills, so it helps. I mean, we can't say that it helps to slow down the disease, but it certainly doesn't hurt.
Right.
So that's an incredible program.
Now, where is Grace Place located at?
We have 3 locations. We have one on Babcock and 410, which is at our same location that we have our Meals on Wheels kitchen. Then we have one on Nacogdoches.
It's at Nacogdoches and Higgins.
Nacogdoches and Higgins. And then we have one downtown on the site of Grace Lutheran Church.
That's off of Avenue A in McCullough.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
So there are volunteer opportunities at Grace Place as well. It's a really fun opportunity to go hang out, do art projects, do sing-alongs,
play
like karaoke,
games.
play games. They're really fun. Actually, at the Babcock location where we're officed out of, the Grace Place is right next to our conference room, and we'll often see them dancing or doing karaoke while we're sitting in meetings and thinking, like, that looks way more fun than what we're doing. So that's a cool volunteer opportunity. It's good for groups if they want to come in. And
So church groups, or maybe if, especially as this being the Christmas season, if there's groups that want to come down and sing Christmas carols
Absolutely.
or get involved, they could definitely do that.
They
as
always
well.
love visitors.
Absolutely.
If there's little kids involved, all of our seniors love seeing little kids, whether they're knocking on their door or coming through for doing trick-or-treating at the Grace Place.
Now, coming back, you just mentioned about having little kids get involved. If someone wants to sign up maybe once or twice a month to deliver meals, are they able to take a child along with them so that way they can experience giving back to the community?
Absolutely.
We think it's a really fantastic way for the entire family to be involved. There's lots of things besides just the meal. There's always a side item. Usually it's a piece of fruit, and then there's the beverage, a carton of milk or orange juice. And so there's an opportunity for a kid to help carry something and hand it also to the senior when they're delivering. So
it's always been very enlightening to me when I've had my children, when they were younger, had the opportunity to go and serve on a missions trip somewhere. And some of it has been here in the United States, and others trips have been outside the country. And how thankful they are for what they have when they see others that are going without.
And I think specifically for what we do, because you are seeing people in their homes, it is such a different experience. So I've worked in the social service arena for a long time, and I sort of, before I took this job, kind of felt like I understood the state of poverty in this city. Because I thought, people come into our office and I hear these stories and I write grants about them and whatever. But it is so different having someone come into your office versus going into their home and seeing the unfortunate way that some people have to live. And I think it is like a mission trip. I mean, obviously, as Americans, we don't live in the same circumstances that some countries do, but there are people in this community that live in circumstances and in poverty that you can't imagine. And so it has been a very humbling experience for me to deliver and to see that and to think, like, I actually didn't know that much about what is really going on in the city.
Right.
And I think it's so helpful for people to understand that.
Well, that's why we do Project One, is we want our listening audience to know what's going on in the community and how they can get involved. And I have to tell you, Ariana, the last time that we met, we did the Difference Makers, and you talked about it. And I happened to call you up about 3 weeks later and tell you of an individual who was a family friend that was in need, that needed meals. And he was going downhill very, very fast.
Yeah.
He was not able to provide. His wife had just passed away. He was in grief. He had a lot of medical issues, was in a wheelchair, he was so emotionally distraught. I was afraid he was going to burn his house down. We contacted you guys. He went through the process, and it was when he started receiving the meals from Meals on Wheels San Antonio, he started to have purpose again. He started feeling better about himself. He started to take care of himself by wanting to get up. And of course, he got some home health care as well to deal with his illness. But he started to want to brush his teeth and fix his hair, and because he had that nutrition, and he looked forward to that. He said, my Meals on Wheels buddy is coming. And I think it was elderly gentleman that was delivering to him. And since he has now moved to be with family in another state. But that was a lifeline, because it would have been just a matter of days before something could have happened to him. And so, on a personal note, thank you for what you do in our community.
Well, it wouldn't be without the support of everyone in our community and programs like this that help us get the word out, that, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So it really is full circle with the support of everyone. It makes it possible.
Yeah, it's not us that's doing it. It's the community that's doing it. It's all the volunteers and all the donors. We're just kind of the ones that push the paper.
Well, and we thank you for that. And again, we want to thank our sponsors, Documation and San Antonio Christian Leadership Forum, as well as Salem Media, to be able to help bring amazing organizations like this that are making a difference in our community. And if you want to get involved, go to this station's website, click on the tab Project One, find out how you can get involved by volunteering, getting your church involved, getting a women's group together, or just getting your family together. And of course, don't forget that end of year giving. I want to thank you for being with us today, and thank you for what you do in our community. You're a blessing.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate it.
We'll see you next week.